Hello and welcome to our series of introductions to Kwaime's Advisory Board members. Today I'm delighted to welcome Dr. Jari Hyvoenen, Project Manager, Manufacturing and Planning at Audi Electric Powertrains. Welcome, Jari.
Thank you, Victoria.
Jari, thank you for your time today. For our audience, could you just give us a summary of your work experience and your history in the industry?
Oh yeah, gladly. So I was actually made in Finland, but moved to Germany after finishing school to study. I studied in Aachen, mechanical engineering, and specialized in combustion engines. Then I started at Audi at manufacturing planning in 1999. So already been some years at Audi. And in that time, I've been mainly at manufacturing planning, but also in our engine plant in Győr for 8 years, 5 years in quality assurance, purchase components, and also 2 years in our prototype build engine, responsible in that time for the first prototypes for the e-tron. And then I was there in Hungary from 2008 to 2015. And 2015, I came back to Ingolstadt and have been responsible for the manufacturing planning of electric motors, starting with the e-tron project, and now very heavily working on the PPE, and then the next drive set will come after that.
You mentioned you've been in the industry some years and Audi for a lot of that. What's been your favourite project that you've worked on throughout your career?
Well, I think I've had the privilege to work in very many interesting projects, but absolute highlight was the e-tron project, because it was then our first own electric motor, and we really started with a blank sheet of paper. So it was a huge learning process, both for our colleagues from the development, of course from purchasing, especially from production, and for us from production planning. And it was a very, very intense time. The ramp up, the start of production, learned a lot because everything was new compared to combustion engines. We've already built like 2 million per year. So already over 20 million built in Hungary. And these were the first electric engines. So that was really a most exciting experience. And I think that was the highlight. And now PPE is still another dimension, but it's not the novelty of being the first of a specific type.
As I said at the start, in my introduction, you're a new member of our advisory board for Kwaime. What's your history with Kwaime? How many years have you attended the show, and why do you attend? What do you get out of the event?
Well, Kwaime was actually pretty lucky stroke for me. When I started, it was actually in May 2015 when I came back from Hungary. From the production to the planning electric motors, and I think it was in the first weeks that my new colleagues then said, "Okay, we'll take you with us to Kwaime to see the industry." So I basically had just like very few ideas. We had built the first prototypes in Hungary, so I was a bit in the matters, but I didn't know the suppliers. So it was a whole new world for me then, and it was very, very valuable. And even in 2015, already got to know some companies, and also most important, the CEOs of the companies and technical directors, which I've had many contacts since then. And I think from 2015 on, it's been a yearly regular, when possible. Of course, last year's wasn't. But then a regular issue to come to Kwaime and to see new companies, to see new ideas, but also it's a meeting point to meet our colleagues from the group, from Volkswagen and Porsche. And then, of course, the suppliers we already have been working with, we're currently working with, and with whom we would like to work with in future. So it's one of the most important industry events in the year for us and for me.
Oh, that's great to hear. Thank you. I'm glad it's been so beneficial to you. As a member of the advisory board for Quimey, how do you think that you'll contribute to the progression and growth of Quimey globally?
Mm. Well, I think very many have development view also on the product. And of course, now in the realization of our second project, I think I do have some experience in what's the need, especially, of course, from the OEM point of view, and then to see the whole manufacturing, starting then from the raw materials, the copper, what kind of a copper will it be, the stator manufacturing, rotor manufacturing, but then also the final assembly, and then also the testing. So what I would like to see is the whole spectrum of the different production steps you need from the raw materials to the finished product. And I think that could be an issue that also other customers who buy manufacturing equipment and raw materials would find interesting.
Yes, definitely. And obviously you mentioned raw materials, but what are the hot topics that you think we should look to cover in the technical agenda at Quimey Berlin?
I think the hot topics are isolation systems. I think the trend is going more from 400 volts technology in direction 800 volts, like e-tron GT is already with 800 volts. So I think that's an issue, how to deal with temperatures, and of course efficiency. What helps the efficiency? I would say is the most important issue, because efficiency is range, or efficiency is cost. So then you can raise the cost of battery to achieve the same range if you have a more efficient machine. So I think it starts from the materials, isolation materials, resins, all these contributions to the product. And then, of course, also technology like hairpin twisting, inserting, impregnation. I would see these as key figures and key facts as a big item for the Quimey.
Moving away from Quimey specifically and into the industry as a whole, what do you think are the biggest challenges that we're currently facing and the opportunities that are also available?
Mm-hmm. I think the trend to electrification, I think it can't be stopped anymore. And I think it's, of course, a very important issue, the climate change that is behind it. So I think it's also necessary that we do it and that we do it successfully. There are some factors which are outside of our direct reach. For example, charging infrastructure, if it doesn't work, then it will be very difficult. That it works is an example of Norway, where already over half of the cars which are newly bought and registered are purely electric, and there are very many charging stations, so it shows that it works. But I think in total it must be the transformation. How do we get from the combustion engine industry into electric motor industry? What parts will not be needed anymore? Can existing production lines be transformed, or do we have to buy everything new? And of course, most important, how can the people be transformed? New qualifications will be necessary. So I'd say in basic, it's transformation. It's the main issue. And I think what will be very exciting is what the time scale will be. Will it be something that will be dictated by political issues? So there are a ban on combustion engines, then it must come very quickly. Or if it can be a natural change where it's a pull that more and more customers want to have an electric car because it's better, they save money, it makes more fun to drive. So I think to formulate it positively, I think it was never before so interesting to work in the industry as it is now.
And yes, I agree. And what do you think about obviously the pandemic situation do you think we'll have we'll see long-term effects of COVID on the industry going forward?
I think it will have an effect, if we're now talking about Kwame, about communication with the suppliers. Traveling will probably be more difficult, even in the longer range, especially intercontinental. I think it probably will take into next year before it stabilizes, and I really hope that it stabilizes, that old normal will be a new normal again, that events will take place, and that you can also meet the people physically and talk with them and look together into some product details or some sketches and not only through the screen. So I really hope that it becomes normal again, because I personally also enjoy it, and it's a big part of the business, to get to learn new people and have common ideas, and then basically realize them and have a common success. And I hope that we will see the normalization coming back again. Probably some effects will be there, that there will be less traveling for normal meetings. For example, flying to Wolfsburg for a meeting will probably be much more rarer than you're used to doing everything on Teams or Skype or similar effects. So there probably will be some effects going longer. We have been very lucky. We're just now ramping up for the PPE production. So our suppliers have done a great job. Even though there were like 10 weeks delays in between, we have now achieved the schedules. It's everything on time. I think that's also been a big effort. And then also thank you to all involved who have helped us in achieving this, despite all the irregularities caused by the COVID situation.
Yes, it's been a difficult and challenging time all round, hasn't it? So we've talked a lot about your career and the industry. Tell us a bit about you outside of work and what you do in your spare time, and how you relax.
Mm-hmm. Well, I most enjoy weekends when I don't have a schedule, so I don't have to get up early. And we have 2 dogs which are small but still quite active. And what I enjoy is have a route about 80 kilometers, then driving with a nice Audi, of course, and e-tron S, or I also have an RSQ3, which is actually a small bomb. So it's a nice excuse, having to go have a walk with the dogs, then to be able to do this 80-kilometer tour. And so that's fun, and I also notice it relaxes me and gives you some energy, because I love cars all my life. So it's a privilege to be able to drive such fantastic machines and be able to enjoy them.
So it sounds like you've got the perfect balance of enjoying your hobby as your work as well, combining the two. Yeah.
So I came actually to Germany in order to work for the car industry. So it's kind of dream come true, actually. So it's a very, very exciting workplace now in the powertrain industry in general, the transformation, as mentioned earlier on. So maybe it's even a privilege for our generation now, not to be optimizing a known product as a combustion engine, but now really introducing a whole new world with all its aspects. And maybe another 10 years it will all be normal. So I think just now it's the most exciting time.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Jari, thank you. It's been fascinating talking to you, and we're really looking forward to working with you with Kwame over the coming months and years. So thank you.
Well, very welcome, and I'm also looking forward to it. also meeting some known, but also then some new people. And thank you very much for the invitation. It was a privilege for me, and I'm also looking forward to working together and then trying together to help our industry, because then we will all profit from it.
Thank you, Jari.